emergency dated April 9th, 2021. The Reapportionment Commission will be meeting remotely using video and audio technology. This meeting is being recorded, and the recordings will serve as the official record of the meeting. Recordings of the meeting will be posted shortly after this meeting on the Office of Elections website at elections.hawaii.gov. As a reminder to the public, your microphone will be muted and your video will be disabled until you're called upon to speak. Let the record show that all commissioners are present with the exceptions of Nishimura and Chip Chase. And I believe that is still correct. With that said, let's move on to agenda item 2, administrative matters. So all commissioners should have received, signed, and returned your affirmation. You should have also received a packet of information containing Article 4 of the Hawaii State Constitution and Chapter 25 of the Hawaii Revised Statutes pertaining to reapportionment, as well as FAQs regarding reapportionment. After this meeting, we'll be sending you an invoice to sign and return in order for you to receive your stipend pursuant to HRS 25-5. Are there any questions? Okay.
Yes, Scott, this is Kevin Rathbun. Did you say 2 commissioners are not present?
Correct.
So there's only 6 of us here?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless that has changed in the time I read that, I believe that is still true. Any other questions?
Scott, this is Lori. I'm sorry. Could you do a quick roll call, please?
Commissioner Nakota.
I thought she's on.
Yeah, did we lose somebody?
This is Kimberly Yamada with the Office of Elections. Commissioner Nakota is calling in via phone, so she needs to unmute her microphone for me.
Commissioner Nakota.
Charlotte, where are you? If she's actually calling in on a phone line, I don't think she can mute or unmute herself. You guys might have to unmute her, yeah? I've never muted or unmuted when I called in on the line.
Yeah, we requested for her to unmute her phone.
I know, but does she have the opportunity? If she didn't literally mute it on her phone, then I think you guys have to unmute it from the.
It says I'm unmuted. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it says I'm unmuted. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Nishimura. Excused. Commissioner Chun.
Here, present.
Nishimura's on too, but he said he can't unmute his mic.
Yeah, I see a Randy there. I think that's him.
Okay. Commissioner Nishimura.
Present.
Commissioner Ono.
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Here.
Commissioner Rathbun.
Present.
Commissioner Chip Chase.
Present.
And Commissioner Nanaka.
Present.
So all commissioners are present. So there is a quorum. Okay, any other questions? We'll be moving on to public testimony. Knowing that technical issues may arise, we will give each testifier a few moments to try and resolve any connection issues. However, if those issues cannot be resolved, we will have to move on to the next testifier. If you want to testify and are joining us by video, please press the raise hand button found under reactions of the Zoom. If you are joining us by phone, please press *9. When recognized, please unmute your microphone before speaking. You may turn on your video during your testimony, and please remember to state your first and last name and the items you will be testifying on. For those testifiers joining us by phone, we will not have your name and we'll be identifying you by the last 4 digits of your phone number. Thank you. Is anybody here wishing to testify? There being no testifiers, we'll move on to agenda item 4, discussion and action regarding the selection of a chairperson pursuant to Section 2, Article 4 of the Hawaii State Constitution. So Section 2 of Article 4 of the Hawaii State Constitution states that 8 members so selected promptly after selection shall be certified by selecting authorities to the chief election officer, and within 30 days thereafter shall select by vote of 6 members and promptly certify to the chief election officer the 9th member who shall serve as chairperson of the commission. Having said that, I will note that prior reapportionments, the 8 members would nominate a temporary chair to handle matters going forward. And I will now turn it over to Lori.
I don't have anything other to add. I think if the commissioners are ready to take action, they can do so.
If it's on us, I think, well, first, I mean, should we take a vote that we're ready to nominate and vote on someone amongst the commissioners? And what's the right procedure here to do that? Or should we just nominate someone and vote, or any other feelings from other commissioners?
I think we need to know what the protocol is.
So if anyone, sorry, hi. If anyone wants to make a motion, they can do so by simply making a motion as saying, I move to nominate X person as the commissioner, and we'll need a second, and then there can be a vote. After discussion, sorry, but that's generally the procedure.
Okay, I guess my question to the commissioners is, are we ready to nominate and vote right now? Or do we need more time? I mean, I have someone I can nominate if you guys are ready to vote.
I think we're ready.
I think we need more time, but I say go ahead. If people have people they want to nominate and want to explain why, I say nominate, and then we can decide if we have enough information or if we need to take another week to do our due diligence.
Okay, well, let me start, and sorry, Rob, but I probably would have had a conversation with you prior to the meeting had I known you'd be here. So, being one of the members on a commission that has been down this road before, you know, in conversations individually with some of the other commissioners, I expressed that I thought it was important that we did not delay this process longer than it needed to be, and avoid doing what we did the last time where we ended up having to send it to the Supreme Court because we could not agree. So I would like to move forward with making a nomination at the meeting today, so we can expedite the process and get on with the work that we have to do. So the second part of that, in the initial conversations with some of the commissions that I've had, is that I thought it was important that this is obviously a political process, and there's a lot of interest that you know, weigh on the different members. And the last time, even though we did not choose the chair was a neutral, you know, in most people's opinions, very neutral party that did a good job of serving as chair, running the meetings, and not you know, exerting particular views or influence in their duties as a chair. So it was my desire to find someone similar to that, where we would be able to move forward and have a chair that is neutral and fair and reasonable, and will let the commissioners do their work and come up with the best plan possible. So I mean, that light, I'd like to nominate Dr. Mark Mugaishi. He's the head of HMSA, has a long record in the community of being a contributor and in a lot of different ways in coaching basketball, and not only just in his medical practice, but he's a proven entity that knows how to run a big organization and navigate difficult situations. And so if there's a second, I'd like to put his name into nomination and we can have some discussion on that.
I second the motion.
Excuse me, point of order. Can we unmute Charlotte Nicota's phone, please? She's still on mute and may not be able to participate in the conversation. Thank you.
Me or Kristen, are you able to?
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Scott, who was the second from?
Diane Ono.
Commissioner Ono. So we have a motion by Commissioner Nonaka and a second by Commissioner Ono.
Yeah, I mean, I personally can't make a decision without more information. I feel like, I mean, are there going to be others that people are going to present, or can we take the week to talk together and come up with a couple of names so everybody has a choice? Does anybody else have anybody else?
I have a candidate as well. That's Judge Kubo. He's a well-respected judge in the community, retired judge in the community now, but he's been a long-time community person to help rehabbing prisoners in jail, and the Weed and Seed program he started many years ago. That's been very beneficial to keeping our at-risk youth out of trouble. And I think he's a impartial gentleman.
This is Commissioner Nikota. I actually would approve of the nominee that Commissioner Nonaka put forth.
So we have Kubo and we have Maguishi, doctor. So anybody else?
Lori, there's a motion on the floor. Can they take another motion up?
In order to modify the motion, there would need to be a motion to amend the current motion on the floor. But yes, the current motion on the floor is to nominate Mark Mugishi, I believe. And there's discussion right now on that. If there's no further discussion, the motion can be voted on, or someone can try and make a motion to amend it.
Word of information, Laurie. This is Randy. I believe when there are nominations, people can put forth names, and then the process would be to close the nominations, and then people can speak for or against any nomination.
Protocol.
Yes. I just want to make sure we're doing it, you know, where anyone has an equal opportunity to, because if we approve Dr. Mugishi's nomination, that would preclude Commissioner Rathbun from making a case for his potential candidate. So I just want to make sure that the selection process is done properly.
I mean, Scott, is there any other protocols that you're aware of that requires a particular nomination process? Because otherwise, my understanding is we're just following general protocols regarding making motions, they be seconded, and then discussion and voting. So like I said, if there's someone who wants to offer someone else up, then they can make a motion to amend the current motion on the floor. I just want to remind the commissioners that it requires a vote of six votes to select a chairperson. 6 of the 8 must vote in favor of a particular person to select that person as chair. So even if a motion goes up for a vote, it might not pass.
So is a motion on the floor right now that we only have Dr. Muguishi on? That's what we're voting on right now?
That's the current discussion, yes.
Yes, okay. So what you need a motion to close that nomination, and then you open up the discussion for Mr. Kubo?
Well,
Or
no,
do we?
there could be a vote, or if someone disagrees, they could make a motion to amend the current motion on the floor.
Okay, I understand that. Okay.
So I think Randy, basically what he just shared is a reason to amend the motion. So I'm going to amend the motion that we don't vote until everybody has an opportunity to put their nominations on the table. And then we can make an educated decision on if any of the ones nominated we think would do a great job.
Good idea. I'm for that.
So that's a second.
So as I understand it, there's been a motion to amend the current motion to perhaps defer decision-making until, I'm just trying to understand, do you want to defer decision-making until the meeting can be reconvened?
No, I'm saying amend the motion to not vote right now on one candidate. We need to take I feel like what Randy just shared was that the appropriate protocol is that the nominations need to come before this commission, and we can look at each of them as individuals, right, with the support of whoever is nominating them. And then we make a motion to vote on any of the 2 or 3 or however many are presented. And if you don't get majority, I'm assuming we then have a week to do our own due diligence and research on these people and come back on the 20th at the same time to vote or nominate additional people. So Randy, is that your understanding?
Typically, excuse me, typically in an election process, yes, I would say that, typically you would do nominations, close the nominations, and then discuss the nominations and make your selection from there. And, I just don't want to get in a position that the process damages what we're trying to do going forward. So
I agree with those comments. I think we need to take all nominations, put them on the table, discuss them, and then figure out vote.
Okay, so
Okay, so let's go forward on that. So does Commissioner Rathburn want to give us some comments on Judge Kudo?
Yes, I've known Judge Kubo for about 7 or 8 years. I've worked with him through nonprofits, a couple of different nonprofits. He's always been a community-oriented man that's stepped up and found ways to fix things. He's a problem solver, in my opinion. I think his thought process is very open and level-headed, and I think he would make a great chair for this commission.
Believe it or not, I know Judge Kubo as well. I run a nonprofit for sexually and physically abused kids. And he was an amazing judge. I mean, it's weird, but I happen to know him. Didn't he used to be the district attorney too?
Yes, he was.
And then
yeah, he was.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the government background. I mean, I really loved him. I haven't seen him in a long time, but he was definitely an amazing judge and very fair. And I don't know that. Sorry.
You're on mute.
I believe Commissioner Ono has a question.
Yes, I just wanted to correct the record on something because I think Commissioner Rathbun said that Judge Kubo created Weed and Seed. Is that what you said? Started Weed and Seed?
He didn't actually start it. He was instrumental in bringing it to our community in Eva Beach and Waipahu.
I actually think that was Stevie Alm that started that.
I'm sorry.
I believe that was Steve Alm that started the reading, Steve.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it was Steve Alm who was instrumental in Weed and Seed, and
Right.
in fact, Judge Kubo, when he was U.S. attorney, in fact, limited the program. So just wanted to correct the record there.
Okay.
For the record, Ed Kubo kept the Weed and Seed program in Waipahu and Eva Beach, kept the funding coming in for a number of years. So I don't know what Steve Alm did, but he didn't do anything in Waipahu or Eva Beach. And I don't think we really want to get wrapped up in minutia. I'm just saying he's a community kind of guy that would probably be a good candidate.
So if we're discussing candidates, I am going to make a plea for Dr. Mugiishi. I think that because he's not really politically aligned, that I like that about him. I do like that about him. And I know from what I've heard, he's a very hard worker, and I like that about him too.
And I'm just going to speak to a matter of process here, is that this is an extremely difficult process. And if we spend a lot of time throwing names out there and debating names, I mean, we've done this before. It doesn't, you need 6 of the 8 members. So I would like to go back to the motion. If we don't have 6 members that are supportive, let's vote and move on, and we can explore other nominations. But if 6 members agree, let's vote and let's move on.
Great idea. I like that. I think we should call for the vote.
Okay, so but the current motion, the current motion on the floor is the motion to amend by Member Kennedy. Is that my understanding, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we amended the motion, so.
Right, she amended and there was a second by, I think, Commissioner Nakota, right?
Correct.
Right, but now isn't the motion to vote for a candidate? Is that a different motion? Like, if we have to make a motion to vote for Dr. Mugiishi? If that's the case, I will make that motion.
No, I think we have to vote on the amended motion, which said that we should consider more candidates and discuss more candidates. So that's the motion we're voting on. Is that not correct, Laurie?
That's my understanding as well, yes.
And I just.
Or Scott, sorry, are you guys going to go through each commission and ask for their vote? If you wanted to, I mean, we have to vote on the motion that's on the floor, which was mine to amend and allow for people to communicate their nominees. So we need to finish that vote. So I'm voting, I made the motion, someone seconded. So we need, all in favor, you raise your hands, I guess, or not in favor. I don't know. So you have to create protocol on this Zoom because obviously nobody has any understanding of how we're going to do this.
When it comes time for the vote, I will call each commissioner's name and you can say how you're going to vote and I will record that.
Okay, so we should vote on the current motion, which is to allow for people to nominate people, share their information why, have discussion, and then see if we have enough information to vote today. So
can I get a point of clarification? Didn't we already just do that?
I don't know. Is that all of, if we only have 2 nominees, then.
Well, nobody else is bringing another name up, so then.
But I think
I'm assuming that's it.
When I read through the documents, it gives us 1 week from today to come back, like next Tuesday at 2:30, let's say, where people have the opportunity to go out and maybe find a nominee or 2 if they're interested in doing that, or at least educate ourselves on the ones that people are bringing forth today. And then we can come back and make, again, an educated decision next week. So, and maybe find additional nominees that we could maybe communicate to each other through email or something.
So Robin, just this is my understanding. The reason for next week's meeting was in an abundance of caution in case we couldn't agree today. So I think we should call the question and vote on whether we want to, come up with more names, because that's your motion, right?
Right.
Because we already do have the name of Dr. Mugiishi.
And Judge Kubo, sounds like, right?
Well, the motion
And then
that
I'd
was
like to-
made was for Dr. Mugiishi.
Mugiishi, correct.
But I amended it.
Well, there needs
But
to
you
be a
can't
vote.
amend it.
Sorry to interrupt. There needs to be a vote on the motion to amend. If that vote fails, then the current motion would then be the motion to nominate.
Okay, let's call for the vote.
Okay, so Scott, can we take a roll call vote on the motion to amend, please?
Okay, so the motion to amend to allow for more candidates made by Commissioner Kennedy, seconded by Commissioner Nakota. I'm going to call for the vote. Commissioner Nakota,
No,
Commissioner Nishimura,
Yes.
Commissioner Chun,
No,
Commissioner Ono,
No,
Commissioner Kennedy,
I made the motion.
Commissioner Rathbun,
Kevin,
Commissioner
He's
Yeah,
on
fine.
mute.
Commissioner
Yes.
Rathbun, Commissioner Chip Chase,
No.
Commissioner Lanaka.
No.
So there are 5 noes and 3 yeses. The motion does not carry.
All right, so I just want to add here, that's kind of what we're doing right now. The reason I vote no is because we are putting people in a nomination, discussing them. I think that should happen one by one. And if the first nomination fails, then we can move on to more nominations. But throwing a bunch of names out there and then kicking them around, I mean, I think as a matter of process, is going to be hard to manage. So I'd like to suggest that we move forward, vote on the Dr. Mugiishi's nomination, and if that fails, then we can continue the process and consider other names or delay the vote till later.
I'm going to second that motion if that's a motion for you. I agree.
or call the question, yeah.
Yeah, the current motion is to nominate Mark Mugiishi as chair. So unless there's any further discussion, Scott will take the roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Nakota,
Yes,
Commissioner Nishimura,
Yes.
Commissioner Chun,
yes,
Commissioner Ono,
Yes,
Commissioner Kennedy,
no,
Commissioner Rathbun,
No.
Commissioner Chip Chase,
Yes.
Commissioner Nanaka.
Yes.
So there are 6 yeses and 2 nos. So I believe the motion carries.
Okay.
Good, we can move on. Thanks, everybody.
I can't imagine that was a legal way to do that. So only because, again, we don't have the opportunity to nominate anybody else. You just nominate one person and then we vote and they win and other people don't get consideration. So I'm just going to put that on the record that I'm not sure that that was handled correctly. You can add it to the minutes, whatever, but I need more time to look into it, but okay.
So the next agenda item, we're anticipating an executive session. In order to enter an executive session, it requires a motion, a second, and then a vote, and 2/3 of the members voting in favor of an executive session. Is there a motion?
So moved. This is Commissioner Chip Chase.
second,
Is that you, Commissioner Ono?
yes,
Okay, thank you. Scott, can you take a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Nakota,
Yes.
Commissioner Nishimura,
Aye.
Commissioner Chun,
Yes.
Commissioner Ono,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Rathbun,
Yes.
Commissioner Chip Chase,
Yes.
and Commissioner Nanaka.
Yes.
Okay. Kristen or Jamie, how are we handling entering executive session over Zoom?
I believe you'll get a request to enter a room. If you would go and accept that, you'll be taken into the room for executive session.
And what about the members who are calling in?
I believe it's the same process, but Kim can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, this is Kim. That is correct. It will be the same process. You will be prompted via phone. So I'll go
So,
ahead and open the breakout room now.
Okay. So is it gonna be via email as far as the invite?
Oh, no, it'll come up on your Zoom meeting right now. I'll go ahead and open it and you can see the
You-
request.
So I need a motion to adjourn and a second.
Can I ask a question? So basically, everything that we need to do on this commission revolves around the census. So what are the next steps? So we're going to adjourn, but what comes next? What are we supposed to do?
So we're not going to get the data to mid-August at the earliest. In the past, commissions have appointed committees or subcommittees. One was to establish the rules of operation. The other was the hiring of staff members. The other was the technical committee to work with the staff on drawing the lines. But it's really up to the commission on how they want to proceed forward. But like I said, like Laurie said, you won't be receiving data to actually start drawing lines till at the earliest mid-August.
So can I ask who's been on this commission before? How many of you guys did this 10 years ago? Anybody?
I believe Commissioner Chip Chase and Commissioner Nanaka.
So Dylan, can you help us understand what we should be doing versus waiting until August? I mean, these committees, Scott's talking about, I mean, how did it go last time?
Very different than it's going to go this time. So what I would suggest is we obviously should have one more meeting with the new chairperson. We should start talking about formulating committees, vote on the formulation of a few committees and designate their duties. We can take some action on general outlines of how we would like the plan to look. For example, like canoe districts, if we want or want to avoid canoe districts, things like that. But really, there's the real work of this commission is approving district lines. And until we have the census data, there's not a whole lot we can do. So unless the staff has some other suggestions, or Scott, you do, I mean, it's probably one more meeting and then take a break for a while until we get the census data.
This is Commissioner Nakota. Can I add? My understanding is, as far as the staff goes, it's now the Office of Election versus assigned staff. Is that correct?
Yeah.
In other
So
words, yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That is correct. The office would provide the support for everything the commission needs.
Okay. Okay. And as far as committee selection, is that done by the chair?
I believe I would have to defer to Dylan on how it was done last time.
I don't think it matters how it was done last time because we live in a different world right now.
I think it's a matter of what the commission wants to, how the commission wants to decide who's on the committee.
We need to figure out what committees.
Yeah, first we got to figure out what committees we want to form, what their duties are going to be, and then I would suggest that we propose members of each committee and then have the commission ratify those members, approve those members.
Okay, I'm for that. That's okay. Okay.
Any other questions?
When's
So
the
I'm gonna
next
need
meeting?
Are we setting a date for the next meeting, or because obviously it doesn't have to be next week now that we've elected a chair?
Yes, so we will send out a request to coordinate your schedules for the next meeting.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so can I get a motion to adjourn
I give you a motion to adjourn.
and a second?
A
Second.
second.
All those in favor,
I.
say
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.